Nick, what's up, dude? What's going on, man?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing very well. Okay, million places we could start. A ton of questions to get to. But what was your main bottom line takeaway from what you witnessed on Sunday in Saints Patriots?
I think it's two pronged. I mean, I think number one, the defense is proving that it's certainly an elite unit, and I think that they're just going to keep getting better. When you get David Onyemata back, Marcus Davenport back, I think that front's going to be really fearsome, and you see a lot of good things happening. The rookie class is impacting the defense really well. I thought Pete Werner covered well in this game. He didn't get a lot of targets, a lot of action, which, is a good thing. He was out there in coverage. They had him manned up one play on Jacoby Myers. He covered him on a little out route out of the slot. And Paulson Adebo I think he's shown as much as you could possibly hope for from a third-round cornerback. His ability to bounce back and just kind of stay locked in and keep Bradley Roby on the bench after they traded for him is a substantial development and really how you want that situation to go. The second thing, I think the offense has a lot of work to do. It's a little bit scary on that side of the ball. I'm not sure they have a skill position player. If you for some reason everybody became available today, I'm not sure they have one single player that would get signed for more than a minimum salary. And some of them wouldn't even be on teams. Deontay Harris, is the one who would get a little bit more, but I think that's for some of the stuff he does beyond the receiving aspect. But I don't think they have a single player. And you kind of see that in the approach, and it makes it hard to play quarterback. When things are going wrong and the scheme isn't getting everybody open, where can you go with the ball? They don't have that one guy right now, and I think that hurts them a lot. But two, I think Jameis Winston simply has to be better. I mean, he's still making bad decisions. Week 2, things go wrong from the first time he faces adversity. You see some of those old Jameis habits. The touchdown pass this week, I thought that was a really bad decision to let that ball fly. If he let it go a second earlier, he had the whole field to the post. Like, it would have been a very easy touchdown. But when you're throwing the ball, when you're perpendicular with the ground, and your back, falling backwards, and you're throwing it up, and your receiver has to fade backwards to catch it, that's not a good decision. And I mean, you can get away with that if you're Patrick Mahomes and not get criticism because you do a million other great things. When you're throwing for 150 yards a game and you're doing that, I mean, there's just not the leeway when you're him. So that's something that I think, has to change and get better. When everybody gets back, I think Jameis will be a little bit better. But this decision-making process is still ongoing. And I think there's an element of him tightening up in the second half of the game. There were 2 or 3 plays. If you go back and watch them, I mean, there's guys open and he's looking at them, and it's like he's hesitant to throw the ball, and then I think he's afraid to make a mistake. So there just needs to become this level of balance and comfort that I think they're still seeking. I think it's still possible to find it, but these last 2 games, I think you see things that you don't want to see from a guy that's talked so much about improving his decision making.
Yeah, Peyton was about the least happy I've ever seen a coach after a touchdown pass in a big game like that when Winston came to the sideline. It was like, come on, bro. What are we doing? Almost sort of face. How about this idea, Nick? So you mentioned the skill weapons, and obviously outside of Kamara, like you said, it is bleak. But is the return of Mike Thomas enough to change all of that? I know it's only one player, but like the combination of then Thomas and how he plays off of Kamara, and then now Harris's ability to maybe stretch the field. Like, is Thomas enough to bring this group to where it needs to be?
I think, Thomas and Traquan Smith, I think both of them, you get them back, and it does make a big difference because Mike's now your number one guy. He can get open against good, when the coverage is going his way. He's proven that. Traquan Smith can make plays over the middle, and that's not really something that we've seen from anybody on this team at this point. I mean, Callaway had the catch on a crossing route, and then he gets pushed out of bounds, one hand, trying to fight for the first down. I mean, Traquan Smith, I think, makes those kind of plays. So these guys that are getting, top coverage, having the attention paid to them, now they're your third, fourth, fifth dot. And I think that Callaway will look a lot better when he's a third option on the offense. And it's just going to help open things up a lot. And like I said, I mean, everything is so scheme dependent right now. And if the scheme doesn't get these guys open, they just aren't getting open on their own. And I don't know that that's the primary issue with the offense, but there are plays where, you know, things just don't go right. You got to have somewhere to go with the ball. And I just don't know that option exists right now. And that is Mike Thomas. That's why they paid him. And they need to get him back on the field. Now, I think it'll happen probably as soon as the limitations up on the PUP list. Before he hit the COVID-19 list, he was running well. He was doing speed drills, running the ladder. That the ankle was moving well, and I can't imagine that you know, having to be away from the team for 10 days has really changed the outlook on his return. So that should happen sooner than later. And when Traquan hit, I was told it would take about a month. I mean, we're coming up on that point, maybe one more week. We'll see tomorrow if he's ahead of schedule and he's starting to work. So I think he's going to be back soon too. So the reserves are coming, but it's just tough right now. I mean, you look at him on offense, and it's just really hard to see what the identity is. The interior offensive line is kind of undermining some of those efforts. They're running and succeeding, and that aspect of the offense, despite, you know, Cesar Ruiz having a really hard time. Throckmorton, you can tell he's new to the group. He's having trouble settling in. So it's just everything on offense is kind of like scattershot right now, and they got to find a way to level it out and just get to a point where they can be the complementary piece and not be an anchor to the defense. And they've really towed that line to this point. Week 2, I felt like that they were an anchor. But if they can just get to a point where, you know, it's not holding it back, and then maybe you get a little bit better once Mike and Traquan and everybody settles in, I mean, there's a path for this team to still be a very good team. And I think with this defense, they're winning 10 games regardless. But, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that has to get better.
All right, Nick, I hate myself for even asking this question because I'm not trying to create like Taysom Hill coming in and playing quarterback, but we did see him in the 4-minute offense this week with the offense struggling, with me agreeing. I think T agrees as well. There's not a skill player that really worries you on the other side of the ball if you're trying to game plan the Saints. Can we see maybe something else with Taysom? Can that create a spark? I mean, what can you do right now with the current guys that you have to try to create something on that side of the football?
So I don't think it's time to make like a change, so to speak. I don't think that you take Jameis out and you roll forward with Taysom. But I could see a definite argument for doing more Taysom stuff and finding a way to get, you know, more two-headed with that approach just to help you through some of these next few games. You know, the one thing that I think sets up well for them is that they are playing New York and then they're playing Washington. I think those are both winnable games with what they got. And you could kind of use Taysom in that spark role, and then you get to the other side of that bye. And Seattle's a tough game, but at least you got some of your guys coming back by that point, and you're starting to settle in. So it's just really, for me, I think it's you just got to get through these next 2 games and kind of see where you're at. And, yeah, I do think that there should be some more Taysom stuff. And it was the one thing when everything else was going wrong that did work for them. And I think, there's probably a two-headed approach that would make some sense. And I think they got to start looking at that maybe a little bit harder, because a lot of the stuff they're doing, like, you know, it's just not working, and you aren't getting that spark, and it's stagnant. And if he can give you that shot of life, it's something that I think you got to look at and try to figure out how to implement a little bit better.
Nick Underhill, New Orleans on football, at Nick_Underhill on Twitter. Go follow him, sign up for the site. Trust me, it's so worth it, y'all. I'm a very long time, very happy subscriber. Real quick, Nick, status of Will Lutz?
So he's been doing a lot of rehab work, and, you know, we saw him before the practices in Dallas, and he was running around. He looked okay. I don't think it's something that's going to linger too long. I think he's pretty close. If he's not ready this week, I mean, man, I would start looking at other kickers, because I don't know how you can go back with
no, you can't go to Rosas again. It just, that felt bad. I mean, it's actually this is kind of craziest part about it, right? And Nick, maybe how do you square this? It's like, here you have a game where you're on the road against a really good New England franchise. You missed 2 field goals, including a chip shot. Your offense really wasn't particularly good at all, and you win that game 28-13. What does that tell you about this Saints team?
Yeah, I mean, they're really good in all the other phases of the game. And, you know, the thing is early in that game, they were playing to be conservative. They're running the ball on 3rd down. They were just really trying to preserve points however they could, and then the kicker undermines that effort. You know, they really could have ran away with this game. And you go back through it, and I'm telling you, in the second half, Jameis only attempted 6 passes, but there's 2 of them. If he had just let the ball go, there's at least 1 touchdown on the field, if not 2, big plays. And he just, for some reason, became hesitant, whereas in the first half, I don't think you saw that same hesitancy. So I think he got a little bit tight after that touchdown, and he made the decision. He's like, all right, I'm not going to screw this up. Peyton just has preached all week about not turning the ball over. I'm just going to protect the ball and not do anything to screw up. And I think that kind of messed up how he went about his job. But, yeah, the fact that they ran away with this game and the whole tone this week is negative and about what's wrong instead of them beating the team, I mean, that kind of tells you how good they were in the other phases. But, look, I mean, we're in, you know, it feels like a year and a half of just kind of waiting for an offense to wake up. Last year it didn't happen. You're back into it this year. It's been jarring to kind of see the Saints in this place where offense is hard, because for 15 years, offense was so easy and it just flowed out of here. And now it's just, you know, kind of like you're trying to make it pop, and it's just not popping. So, you know, it does say a lot about the other phases, though. Special teams, outside of the kicker, you know, they're playing great. The loss of Justin Hardy hasn't been an issue at all with how well Tom Montgomery's played.
Yep.
And the defense is, you know, it looks like a top 5 unit, and they're missing multiple guys on the defensive line. So, you know, I think there is a lot of stuff to feel great about. It's just they got to get confident on offense.
Hey, last one, Nick, because we've kind of seen this already a little bit this year, and I think it could be successful considering how well Tony Jones Jr. has played. Do you think more 20 personnel is a viable option for the Saints, because you like both those guys being on the field with Kamara and Jones, considering how well he's played so far? And your tight ends are struggling as well.
The tight ends definitely are struggling. You know, that was one of my biggest takeaways from this is that they need to do more stuff with Tony Jones. I mean, he brings great pop. He runs well. His vision's outstanding, and he just didn't get a lot of carries in this game. And, you know, I think you want to try to keep some of the mileage off of Alvin, too. You know, it's working now, giving him 20, 25 carries a game. I don't know if that's something you want to do for 17 games and let him take that wear and tear when he's so important to what you do. And you know, avoiding injuries has been kind of a thing for him up until last year. So, yeah, I would definitely go more 20. And as you said, the tight ends have been extremely disappointing. I mean, I think it's fair to say that you know, Troutman is not doing anything that anybody hoped he would do.
No.
You know, there's flashes from Juwan Johnson. He's just not there yet. And, yeah, I mean, I would definitely try to find a way to get more Tony Jones on the field. And you know, it's almost like a cliche at this point with talking about the Saints and the backup running back. Everybody always wanted more Murray, and now it's on Tony Jones. But, I mean, it's real. I mean, he ran really well. And I think if you're going to be a running team, I think you need to get the other guy involved a little bit more for, you know, multiple reasons.
At least Troutman's still run blocking well, at least, right? I mean, didn't he have a pretty good game on Sunday in that regard?
He did. You know, week 2, I thought his blocking was a little bit iffy. He missed a couple. But, yeah, I mean, this was a really good game for him, blocking, pass blocking. You know, he definitely did his job. But, I mean, the receiving aspect just hasn't been there. And, you know, I don't think that you trade up to draft a blocking tight end in the 3rd round. Like, you need some you know, passing game element from him. And it's just not quite there yet. And maybe it comes. I mean, maybe he's just kind of, you know, getting lost within all this stuff going on. But, I mean, it's not like you're going through the film and seeing plays where he's popping open and he's getting missed. I do see some of that with Juwan Johnson. I think there's a couple catches, you know, especially against Carolina. The second interception, he was wide open over the middle. And there was another play in the 2-minute where they just kind of missed him. But, like, you don't see those same things with Troutman. And maybe it's just opportunities, but, I don't think that's the case right now. With how hard it is for them to get offense, I think if a guy was getting open, the ball would probably be finding them, and it's just not happening.
Well, Nick, we've already kept you so long, so I'll end with this. How did it feel? I don't know exactly how long you were gone from your home, but how do you think the team feels? How do you feel? How does everyone feel about being back in New Orleans finally?
Yeah, I think everybody's ecstatic. I did about 20 days in Dallas, and then I caught Corona and had to come home and dealt with that. Got the negative test today, so I'm clear to go. But, yeah, I mean, man, these players being back, you just see on social media and that, look, 30 days is a long time.
Yeah.
And, you know, they were driving 45 minutes every day to practice from Dallas to TCU. And it's just, you know, I just think that you know, it was time, and everybody is definitely glad to be back here. and there's still a lot to get done here to get back to normal, and hopefully people outside of here don't forget about Louisiana, because I see what it's like here, and I know in other areas of the state that got hit a lot harder. There has to definitely be a ton of recovery, just based on some of the stuff I'm seeing around here.
Yeah. Definitely continue to support LaRose Cutoff everywhere that needs help. Nick, thank you so much, man. Nick Underhill, New Orleans Up Football.
Yep, have a good one, guys.
Again,
Nick.
follow him, Nick_Underhill. New Orleans Up Football really is just so fantastic of a site.
I know we're long, but I want to do a better job of explaining.
My fingers are very long. Thank you. I agree.
20 personnel, so that's 2 backs, 3 receivers, no tight ends. When you're struggling at the tight end position, on third down, it's not the worst idea to run out 20 personnel, because when you look at Adam Troutman, he's still the guy that we know him to be in the run game. He's still blocking at a very high clip. In fact, he graded out at 82% in this last game. But when you look at his receiving grade, 38 in week 1, 50 in week 2, 50 in week 3.
Yeah.
So that's where he's really struggling. So 20 personnel, something that I think the Saints have. I know we've seen it already, so it's in. I'd like to see him implement it on third down, just switch it up, because I do think Jones deserves to be out there on the field. And if you've got 2 backs like that, you're talking about some mismatches, especially if it's like third and intermediate, 7 and less.
And he had some nice runs as well. Even though I thought he started really well, and they go back to more and they didn't. But yeah, if anybody can execute that idea, Sean Payton can. Right? Like if anybody should be able to work in creative 20 personnel usage and create mismatches, Sean Payton too should be able to. All right. That was Nick Underhill every single week, brought to you by Chris Perrette.